Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for checking out my book. This book represents 2 years of my life. I started writing it right when my daughter was born. I flew back from Tahiti. Daughter was born. I spent a month with my wife and daughter, and I started writing this book. I had met John Kretschmer about a year before that, and he inspired me to write. He said, "James, you got to write a book. You just have to do it. Do it." So when I had the time and I was twiddling my thumbs, I started writing it. I got the basic outline done. I did a lot of market research because I really wasn't sure exactly what you guys were, having problems with. So I did 50 hours of market research. I put an ad up and I said, if anybody's willing to help me out, I'm looking for topics for a book. I ended up putting in a lot of topics into the book that I would not have had I not done that market research. For instance, there's a chapter on how to check in to a country. I would never have put that in the book because it's just kind of nuanced, but I've got a pretty good chapter on this is kind of what you need to worry about and do and who you need to talk to and how it works. So you get a good idea for that. It was funny because like half the people said that. They said, look, I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. So this is what I built this book on. And I'm going to read a little bit of it for you. A lot of you asked me if I could put in a little bit of a preview. So this is going to be the preview. You have to keep in mind that I'm an offshore sailor. This is advice for offshore sailors, and that's where it's coming from. I tried to be as truthful as I can, self-deprecating as I can, and I tried to back everything up with some real world stories of what really happens out here. So with that said, let's get into the book. So this book is 72,284 words. It's got a dedication to the wanderers, to the sailors who haven't left, and the ones who never came back. This is what I wish someone had told me 25 years ago. The table of contents, chapter 1 is Think Like a Captain. It's just an intro. Chapter 2 is How to Choose an Offshore Boat. It's got a bunch of subchapters on everything that I think you need to know to choose a boat. Chapter 3 is Rigging and Sail Handling. So this is like how to inspect and tune your rig. How do you select the right sails? How do you splice lines? How do you make soft shackles? Knots you need to know. And then chapter 4, we get into actually sailing. So this is how you sail offshore. What's important, how you reef, how do you set your sails up, how do you heave to, how do you go wing on wing, some rules, a bunch of rules that I have that have kept me safe. Chapter 5 is Anchoring, Docking, and Handling. This is more than just anchoring your boat. This is some really cool techniques that I haven't seen in any other book. How to make your own mooring on a coral head, what to do if you come in and there's just one little patch of sand and there's coral everywhere else, how to protect it, how to buoy your anchor, advanced techniques basically on how to really cruise far away in those areas where nobody goes to. Chapter 6 is how to deal with the most common question I got from that market research. How do you fix the boat? How do you deal with all the things that break? This is kind of what this chapter, all the meat of this chapter is. And then chapter 7 is kind of an offshoot on that, is like what is important? What's the systems that you need to learn? Where do you go to get more information? How much water am I going to use? How much power am I going to use? That kind of stuff. And then chapter 8 is weather routing. So how to use predict wind, how the offshore weather works, what's important, how to choose a weather window, where to get more information, which is a super important one. Chapter 9 is going into offshore emergencies, like what to do in case of fire, flooding, man overboard, rig failures. I tried to kind of keep this broad and touch on everything. And, emergency preparedness basically is what this is. Chapter 10 is more living, how to live life in a very, very small space, how to sail with kids. Chapter 11 is how to pick crew and how to manage the crew offshore. There's going to be a lot on watch keeping, and I broke it down by crews of 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and you got some sample watch schedules in there that you can print out. Chapter 12 is maintenance and spares, so like what you need to have to successfully cruise. Chapter 13 is my favorite, and what offshore book would not be complete without a section on storm tactics. This is the coup de grace of my writing. So I hope you enjoy that one. I loved writing this chapter. It was super fun. This is where I get to pour my heart out to you and tell you really how I think and what's worked for me. Chapter 14 is Dream to Departure. And basically that's just the final walkthrough, the final, what do you really need and what do you really not need? I'm trying to push you to go and cut those lines. Chapter 15 is the future of sailing and offshore communications. Like, what kind of tech do you need? And then chapter 16 is just go. And it's just really some inspirational words to kind of round this hero's journey out and tell you, this is your chance. You are the hero now. You're the captain. Get out and go. And then there's going to be a bonus section with a bunch of stuff that you can print out and download. And I've got a clear and concise place for all of the drawings that I could have put in the book, but it would have taken up way too much space. So this is like, all the printable watch schedules and the departure checklists and the systems checklists and all the links that I recommend that you go to learn about stuff, and book recommendations, all that stuff, instead of putting it in the book, is all going to live on the website. So you just go there and you can take all these extra kind of things. I wanted to give you so much information, I can't put it all in one book, So that's where all that is. Now it's time to read you a little bit of the book. I'm going to read you the first chapter, okay? If you guys have already like it, go just stop listening to me and go ahead and buy the book. If you'd like to listen to what my writing style is like, to see if you might be offended by it, here we go. Chapter 1, Think Like a Captain. This is not a book about sailing. It's about command. It's not about buying gear, chasing trends, or showing off some dream lifestyle. This is about something more profound, something older. The kind of knowledge passed between sailors over campfires, on night watches, and in the quiet moments out to sea when the ocean has finally gone still. Because if you're here, this is the beginning of 2 significant relationships in your life. The first is your relationship with your boat. She won't be a thing, not for long. She'll become your protector, your teacher, and your shelter. You'll sleep inside her, you'll sweat over her systems, talk to her hull, and listen to her when something doesn't sound quite right, because she will talk back. You need to learn to listen. When she needs attention, to when she's being pushed too hard, you'll know when she's happy, and you'll know when she's hurting. For thousands of years, sailors have referred to boats as women, and for good reason. The feminine energy is nurturing, protective, and powerful. She will give everything she has to cradle you safely through the worst storm you've ever experienced on the ocean. But she demands care. She demands respect. She demands attention. If you ignore her, she'll let you know. If you neglect her, she'll push back. And if you mistreat her, she will break, and maybe break you with her. The second relationship you're about to start is with the ocean. The sea doesn't care about your comfort, your confidence, or your dreams. It isn't malicious, but it's indifferent. It will test every weakness without hesitation, and in that indifference, there is both danger and beauty, because nothing out here is personal. You either rise to meet the sea as you are, or you don't. That's where we start, not with tools or techniques, but with the mindset of the captain. Because the moment you decide to sail offshore, you're the captain. Before you buy a boat, before you cast off the lines, before you know half of what you need to know, you're the captain. And the truth is, if you don't claim that role, someone else will. Your crew, your partner, your dock neighbor. Out here, hesitation is danger. Indecision is risk. Human beings are wired to lead or follow. If you falter in a moment of crisis, someone else will step up, and that might not be the right person. This is why you must be the captain. Even if you don't know the answer, you lead the conversation, you get input, and you make the decision. That is leadership offshore, and that's the job. This is not a place for perfect people. It's a place for people who keep going when it's not perfect. Confidence out here isn't about ego, it's presence. It's being able to say, I don't know yet, but I'll find out. It's taking responsibility for the outcome, even if you didn't cause the problem. It's knowing that once you're offshore, no one is coming to save you. But that's okay, because you've trained for this. You built this. You practiced this. You've got this. You don't get to practice courage in the calm. Life doesn't work that way. You practice it in chaos. This book is about preparing you for those moments. In my opinion, there are two ways to write a book like this. Option one, play it safe, be polite, choose every word carefully so you don't upset anybody. Think twice because your opinion might offend or alienate half your readers. This is the path of maximum marketability, lowest risk, highest potential profit, and fewest angry reviews. Option two, be bold. Say what you actually think, not what sells. Don't write like you're trying to win over a book club. Write like you're in the middle of the ocean, yelling across the cockpit during a squall. No filter, no sugarcoating, just your truth as you've lived it. This is not the curated Instagram version. It's the part where your hands are bleeding, the autopilot's dead, and you're trying to figure out if a bungee cord can hold the helm for the next 1,200 miles. Spoiler, it can. See Chapter 6E. You may not agree with everything I say, and that's fine. Take what you can, leave what doesn't serve you. Every word in this book is my honest opinion. It may challenge your current thought process, and that's good. We don't grow by nodding along. We grow by getting uncomfortable, hearing hard truths, and sometimes, if we keep our minds open, coming across something that changes the way we think. I've logged over 85,000 miles at sea, as captain, under sail, chasing weather windows and fighting gear failures. Deliveries, passages, breakages, storms, calms. I've lived aboard sailboats full-time for 18 years, on many different boats, from a leaky Catalina 27 to a majestic 48-foot oyster. Along the way, I've made landfall in some of the hardest to reach places on Earth. Easter Island, twice, Pitcairn, and even more remote specks most people will only ever see on a chart. Before that, I spent nearly 60,000 miles underwater navigating U.S. Navy submarines. No GPS, no outside comms, just paper charts and dead reckoning. We were not allowed to get it wrong. That experience taught me three things. Preparation is key to a good passage. Maintenance in port keeps the gear running at sea. And most importantly, when you're 800 feet underwater with no communication, you have to figure it out. And you have to trust that you will. This book is my truth, as I know it now, at this point in my life. All I can ask is that you keep your mind open. If I can teach you even one thing that saves your ass out to sea, my job is done. The time was worth it. Sailing is a lifelong learning experience. You don't need every gadget. You don't need a $500,000 boat. What you need is a mindset of adaptability, resourcefulness, and respect for the sea. Because the moment you start thinking you've got it all figured out, she'll smack you back into practicing your bowlines. That's what we're here to forge. That's what makes a confident captain. You've got the mindset. Now let's build the skills to match. One day, your life or someone else's might depend on it. All right, I'm freaking ready. Let's go. I want to read the rest. Thanks for listening. Much love. I appreciate you checking out my site. I hope you love the book. I put my heart and soul in this thing, and I'm super proud of it. I'm very, very proud of it. I'm so proud of how it came out. I think it's going to help a lot of people. I hope so. Much love.